You sleep 8 hours, you still wake up tired. You blame stress, you blame work, you blame age. You're wrong about all three. Here's what nobody tells men in their 40s. Fatigue isn't usually a sleep problem. It isn't usually a stress problem. In most cases, it's a cellular energy production problem, and it's happening inside structures most men have never been taught to think about: mitochondria. Mitochondrial decline starts measurably in your 30s and 40s, earlier than most people expect. And it's not just about feeling tired. It's connected to insulin resistance, cognitive slowdown, and the speed at which your entire body ages. Your doctor checks your thyroid, maybe your iron, maybe your vitamin D, almost never your mitochondrial function, because there's no standard test for it on a routine panel. In this video, I'm going to show you what's actually happening inside your cells when energy production breaks down, the early warning signs your body is already giving you, and what the research says you can do about it. This is Hidden Health Protocol. I'm Dr. Nathan Cole. And this is the mechanism behind the exhaustion you've been blaming on everything except its actual cause. Let's start with the basics most men skipped in school and never revisited. Mitochondria are the structures inside your cells responsible for producing ATP, the molecule that powers literally everything your body does. Every muscle contraction, every thought, every heartbeat runs on ATP generated inside mitochondria. But mitochondria do far more than produce energy. They regulate inflammation. They control when damaged cells die off, a process called apoptosis. They manage the DNA repair processes that keep your tissue functioning as you age. When mitochondrial function declines, it's not just about energy. Research shows it contributes to insulin resistance, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and accelerated cellular aging through two compounding mechanisms working at the same time. The first, your mitochondria become less efficient at producing ATP. The second, damaged mitochondria accumulate faster than your body clears them out. And here's the part that matters most for men in their 40s. This decline doesn't announce itself with a single dramatic symptom. It shows up as something far easier to dismiss: low-grade, persistent exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. Now here's the mechanism behind why mitochondrial function specifically declines after 40. Your mitochondria depend on a molecule called NAD+, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, to convert fuel into usable energy. Without sufficient NAD+, the entire energy production chain slows down, regardless of how well you sleep or how clean you eat. Population data is direct on this. NAD+ levels peak in your early 20s, then begin a steady decline, and the data shows the decline becomes statistically significant specifically in the 40 to 49 age range, even before it shows up consistently after 50. Why does this happen at this specific window? Two enzymes are responsible. PARPs increase their activity to repair accumulating DNA damage, consuming NAD+ in the process. CD38, part of your body's inflammatory response, also rises with age and consumes NAD+ as a side effect. It's a resource allocation problem. Your body has more repair work to do and the same NAD+ budget to do it with. Something has to give. And what gives, first and most noticeably, is your energy. This is where it gets specific. If mitochondrial decline is happening in your body right now, here are the patterns that reveal it. Patterns most men misattribute to something else entirely. First, afternoon energy crashes that sleep doesn't fix. If you're getting 7 to 8 hours and still hitting a wall by 2 p.m., that's not a sleep debt. Sleep restores your brain. It does not restore mitochondrial density or efficiency. You can sleep perfectly and still run on cellular energy production that's underperforming. Second, slower recovery from physical exertion than you remember. This is one of the most consistent early markers. A workout that used to leave you recovered by the next morning now leaves you sore and flat for 2 days. That's not getting older as an explanation. That's a measurable decline in mitochondrial capacity to regenerate ATP after demand. Third, brain fog that gets worse as the day goes on. Your brain is one of the most energy-hungry organs in your body. When mitochondrial output drops, cognition is often the first place it shows up, not as memory loss, but as a kind of mental friction. Tasks that used to be automatic now require visible effort. Individually, each of these gets blamed on stress, age, or a bad night's sleep. Together, they form a pattern, and the pattern has a name: mitochondrial decline.
So what does the evidence say actually supports mitochondrial function as you age? Research points consistently to a small set of interventions with real mechanistic backing, not trends, mechanisms. Resistance training. Of every lifestyle intervention studied, resistance training has the most consistent evidence for stimulating mitochondrial biogenesis, your body's process of literally building new mitochondria in response to demand. This isn't about cardio, it's about progressive load. Time-restricted eating. Giving your body extended periods without constant fuel intake activates cellular cleanup processes that clear damaged mitochondria, a process researchers call mitophagy. Without this clearance, dysfunctional mitochondria accumulate and continue producing energy inefficiently. Cold exposure. Multiple studies link brief, controlled cold exposure to increased mitochondrial density in muscle tissue over time, your body adapting by building more efficient energy infrastructure. Addressing the NAD+ bottleneck directly. Since NAD+ is the upstream fuel source mitochondria depend on, supporting its availability through specific precursor compounds studied for this purpose is one of the few interventions that targets the mechanism directly rather than downstream symptoms. None of these are exotic, none require a prescription, but all of them require knowing that mitochondrial decline, not stress, not simply aging, is the actual mechanism you're working against.
Let's bring this together. The exhaustion you've been blaming on stress, on work, on simply getting older. In a meaningful number of cases, it traces back to a measurable decline in mitochondrial energy production. A decline that often starts in your 30s and accelerates through your 40s. The signs are there. Afternoon crashes sleep doesn't fix, slower recovery, mental friction that builds through the day. Most men have been taught to read these as personality or circumstance. They are, more often, biology. And biology that's been measured and that responds to specific, evidence-backed intervention. I've left a link in the description.